You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump's intel operations are endangering us all. XAIA analyst based on an article by Matthew Ross. Intelligence as a bludgeon. The briefing was not the point. The source story is about a former CIA analyst, Curlee, warning that the Trump White House has turned intelligence work into a loyalty test. The concrete facts are ugly and specific. Analysts were fired, clearances revoked, dissent punished, and raw reporting selectively declassified to support claims the finished intelligence would not sustain. That is the shape of the story. The headline event is not a disagreement over analysis. It is the executive branch trying to seize the machinery that is supposed to constrain executive delusion. Power sat in the White House. Actual institutional power rested with Trump, Stephen Miller, Tulsi Gabbard, and the political staff around them. They did not merely receive intelligence and interpret it differently. They ordered the questions, rejected the answers, and punished the people who produced them. Curlee's account of the Venezuela assessment makes it plain. The NIC reached a conclusion that did not fit the administration's case, and the response was pressure, public denouncement, and career destruction. That is not oversight. That is command politics applied to intelligence. The pretext was the product. Miller's Venezuela question, nearly mirroring the predicate for the Alien Enemies Act, gives the game away. Their administration was not asking whether the evidence supported a policy. It was looking for a legal costume for a policy already chosen. The same pattern appears in the declassification stunt around alleged Chinese election interference. Raw reporting was pushed into public view to override the intelligence community's own coordinated conclusion. This is how propaganda works in government clothes. First manufacture the theory, then raid their archive for scraps that can be waved around as proof. Punishment was the message. The firings and clearance revocations were not isolated personnel moves. They were the mechanism. Curlee describes senior officers removed in public, trans intelligence officers purged, experienced Russia experts stripped of access, and a respected analyst walked out after holding firm on Venezuela. The point was to teach the institution that independence is expensive. Once people learn that a correct assessment can cost them their livelihood, silence no longer needs to be ordered. It becomes the default survival strategy. Misdirection and scapegoating. This story also exposes how easily political media framing can launder authoritarian behavior into a technical dispute about politicization. The real politicization came from the top, not from the analysts trying to preserve analytic integrity. Yet the public is often invited to treat the intelligence community as a vague and self-important blob, as if the danger were bureaucratic arrogance rather than a president demanding that facts bend to court politics. That misdirection matters. It turns a deliberate purge into an administrative controversy and lets the people issuing the orders hide behind the language of reform. The larger pattern, what Curlee describes, is not simply a damaged intelligence community. It is an executive branch that treats the state as personal property and truth as a hostile witness. Once that logic takes hold, intelligence becomes ammunition, law becomes pretext, and career civil servants become targets. The broader pattern is plain. Authoritarian politics does not begin by abolishing institutions. It begins by forcing them to lie, firing the people who refuse, and calling the wreckage accountability. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article, with the automated voice of Liberts. Thanks for listening.